Hey gamers. So first of all, I want to say that I'm feeling so much better from the last video I did where I was kind of just crying about a whole situation with this girl I was talking to for like a few weeks. In fact, after I recorded that video, I stopped crying and I'm a little bit disappointed still, but I'm overall pretty happy, especially now with the Switch 2 Direct. That really lightened up my spirits, although it also saddened my spirits because of the pricing, but yeah, I just wanted to clarify, I feel better compared to yesterday. So yeah, there you go. But we're gonna be talking about the Switch 2 Direct that happened recently. I'm recording this the night of the event happening. Now, because of me recording this at this time, by the time you see this video, there's gonna be the Nintendo Treehouse stuff, which is gonna show off more footage and maybe more announcements. I don't know, we'll see. And also probably there'll be more details on certain things. But I'm just gonna cover everything I can right now, including everything that was shown off in the Direct and some of the stuff that was announced after it, at least that I know of so far. Honestly, it's a crazy time to be a Nintendo fan. This is my first ever Nintendo console launch because I kind of was aware of the Switch 1 when it was coming out, but I didn't really experience it. I wasn't that big into games like I am now, so it's cool to experience it and to share it with you guys. And it's also cool to go from not knowing really anything about the Switch 2, there were leaks and stuff, but nothing official from Nintendo, to knowing a lot of stuff, so yeah, let's just get right into it. So I'm looking at a Nintendo Life article and they're going to go over every single thing in chronological order. So it starts things off with Mario Kart World, which comes out June 5th, which also is when the Switch 2 launches. This game looks really good. It looks very open. They're gonna have like a Nintendo Direct for this game in particular. I'm definitely gonna be reacting to it. I hope there's like a story mode. There's like a free roam thing. I feel like there's gotta be a story mode because of that, right? They have a lot of weird characters. Like you got the Moo Moo Meadows cow, Goomba, Fishbone. You got a lot of weird characters and it's really cool stuff, honestly. Yeah. The only thing that's weird is this wasn't talked about in the Direct, but it's apparently $80 digitally and maybe $90 physically. I'm not sure about that one, but at least it's $80 digitally. And it's so annoying. I made a whole YouTube short kind of complaining about the prices because Nintendo really didn't talk about them in this Direct, and I'm kind of annoyed because it would have clarified things more easier because it's all like random, like what the heck. The prices of things are like scattershot, like what's the correct price? Is it fully confirmed? It's just annoying. And yeah, $80 is really steep, so annoying, but at least the game looks cool. So next up we got game chat detailed, which looked cool in the sense of how it functioned, how it looked. It looked really bad. Like it was like 10 FPS, it was like very laggy, it was so funny, and the Switch 2 is more powerful, it has 4K and HDR and all that stuff that they talked about in a little bit, but like it still looks bad, the stuff with like the video. I don't know, but at least it's cool. It's a step up for Nintendo to finally embrace online after they kind of neglected it. Because it was weird, like on Wii U it was more accepting of online, then they took a step back, and then now they're taking a big step forward finally, so that's good. They also showed off that with the game chat thing, they have a camera thing, which is kind of cool. It's kind of how I imagine the Switch 2 would be like with a sensor bar. Maybe they could do that as well, have it plug into the top USB port. But having the camera there is still cool. I kind of wish it was a built-in camera on the Switch, but it's still cool. Yeah. And then we got Game Share, which is basically the download play from the DS. Although it's weird that it's only for some games you need to update them. I guess it makes sense because it wasn't intended with the original Switch in particular. But it's kind of weird still that they need to update these to allow it. And then they talked about new console features. We also got a game thing of Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. Also comes out launch day. And it's weird because this is a paid thing. Why? It should be free. It should be like Astro's Playroom. I think I saw something where it's gonna be $10 at least in Japan. which, you know, it might vary, especially because the Switch 2 is very cheap in Japan. And, well, you know, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but maybe it'll be like $10 here, but it should be free. Like, come on, Nintendo. And then they talked about game card and SD card information, which they said that micro SD express cards are required. The regular micro SD cards we already have in our Switch won't work because faster speeds. I wish there was a nods on the Switch 2 cartridge. There isn't. It's just red. It's kind of disappointing, but whatever, you know. Also, there was something that came out after this where they said how there's like a different version of the game card where it's basically like Sony and Xbox do, where, you know, it's like the disc is a key, you know, and then you download the rest of it. That's basically what a version of the Switch 2 card is. There's still versions that like have the full game in, so okay. Then we finally got some news on the Switch 2 Pro controller. The C button is weird. It's at the bottom. I would have thought it would have been at the top, you know, in between the home button and screenshot button, or slightly down from that. I don't know why it's like all the way down. I don't know. And but there's also like triggers on the back. You can map stuff. So there's that. Switch 2 edition games. There's going to be some games that have like new content, you know, stuff like Mario Party Jamboree, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, although that new content is only on the phone, which is kind of weird. Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Metroid Prime 4. Like, a lot of these are like, have some sort of new content in them, or at least have more extensive features, like frame rate boost. But I did see that there are going to be free upgrades as well for some games, and I think those will have like, it will just be more like, oh, it will run a bit better and it will be smoother, you know, but these add like at least some sort of new content. You know, these paid ones, I don't know how much they're going to cost. We don't know yet. Maybe we'll find out by the time this video comes out. I'm going to hope for $10, but knowing Nintendo, it's going to be like 20 or 30. I don't know. I did see that, you know, they're going to repackage these games like for Switch 2. And apparently some of them are going to be $80. So that kind of makes me think, yeah, it's going to be 20. Oh, my God. Anyway, next up we got Drag X Drive, however you say it, summer 2025. Kind of reminds me of like a handicap version of Rocket League. So yeah, it uses the mouse thing. Next we got Elden Ring Tarnished Edition 2025. This includes the Shadow of the Erdtree expansion, the main game, new armor, and some sort of appearance thing. I don't know. Hades 2, I feel like we should see that for Switch 1 as well, but, you know, it's coming at some point. We don't know when, but at some point. Street Fighter 6 comes out on launch day for Switch 2. I don't understand the thing about well, they're adding Amiibo, but they're adding some new stuff, but they're also doing something like some sort of other version. Yeah, 6 years 1-2 Fighters Edition. So I don't know. It's interesting. We got Daemon X Machina Titanic Psychon, which I thought this looked like Xenoblade X. I'm like, is this Xenoblade X 2? I knew it wasn't, but it did look like it. So I think this game was already announced. I don't know. I heard people talk about it like it was already announced, so I don't know. Split Fiction coming the same day as Switch 2. EA Sports FC and Madden. NFL, I don't care, but, you know, they're coming. Hogwarts Legacy is getting a Switch 2 version. So, yeah, and it's also adding, like, mouse controls, you know, improved visuals. Launch day for Switch 2. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4. Also getting a Switch 2 version, even though it's already going to come out to Switch July 11th. And then we got Hitman World of Assassination Signature Edition, which this was like a cloud game on Switch. So it's nice to see a native version. Comes out launch day. Project 007. I did not even know this was a thing. Apparently this was already announced like 4 years ago. But it's re-announced that it's coming to Switch 2. So, yeah. Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD Remaster comes out launch day. This game is weird because it's like 11 gigabytes or something, but it's coming in like that Switch 2 cartridge where, you know, it's like a verification disc thing, which is weird because I would think those would only be there for games that are like a lot of gigabytes, like 64 gigabytes, which we'll talk about one game that will be like that later on. But this is 11. Why Square Enix Yakuza 0 Director's Cut? This is like new stuff added, so interesting. Comes out launch day. There's a lot of launch day stuff, and it's kind of annoying. It's kind of reminds me of like what Wii U, you know, because they were like, oh, the Wii was successful, the Wii U will be too. So they had like 20 or something games on launch day and then nothing else. I'm kind of worried, you know, that, you know, because a lot of these games are like on launch, you know, they're not spreading them out. You know, I'm worried that we're not going to get a lot of new original stuff in the first year. But, you know, maybe we'll learn more. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment Winter 2025. Apparently, there was something where this is actually canon. This is like an actual canonical thing. Unlike Age of Calamity. I will see, like, it was something in like an article. I'm kind of wondering if that really is the case, you know, because they said the same thing for Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, like, oh, experience the events, you know, of the past, you know, and they changed it. So I'm kind of worried, but I don't really care that much. Like, I do, but like, the Age of Calamity was really fun. The original Hyrule Warriors was also very fun. I'm sure this is going to be very fun too, you know, but I would like it to be actually canon. Anyway, we got Switch Online GameCube library. This is going to be added to the expansion pack. I wonder if the expansion pack will be price increased. I was thinking if they would add GameCube, they would be in like a third thing, like super expansive pack. But no, they're just adding that to the expansion pack, which makes me kind of wonder if they're going to increase the prices. Anyway, we got 3 games coming at launch with the Switch 2. I wish there were more. I don't know why. It's Wind Waker. Guys, we finally got Wind Waker on Switch, kind of. It's not the HD one, and it's not on the original Switch, but we got Wind Waker. Soul Calibur 2, which has Link, and then F-Zero GX, which is the only F-Zero game I have not played, at least right now. So, and then we also saw other games that are going to be coming too, like Mario Sunshine, Luigi's Mansion, Mario Strikers. Pretty cool, but I wish there were more games at launch. Deltarune Chapter 3 and 4 comes out June 5th. Again, launch day. Pretty cool, surprising. I wonder how much it's going to cost, because wasn't 1 and 2 were like free. I wonder how much it's going to cost. Maybe $20, I don't know. Borderlands 4 is coming to Switch at some point. I don't know if it's going to be coming out same time as it launches, like with the other platforms, like on September, I think. I don't know. Also, when that guy popped up, apparently lots of people don't like this guy. I don't know why. I'm sure he did something bad, but lots of people did not like when the guy popped up to talk about the Borderlands 4. We got Civilization 7, getting a Switch 2 version. Comes out, of course, launch day. Then we got WWE 2K and NBA 2K coming to Switch at some point. Survival Kids comes out on launch day. And also, I forgot to mention, you know, it was weird because this Direct had issues, at least in America. Like, it was like it crashed. Well, like even before that, it was like lagging the voices. I'm not completely sure if it was like only me. I don't think so. I thought it was me for the longest time, but then it like froze at this part when they were showing off the Survival Kids game. And I saw the chat on the, you know, on the Nintendo live stream, and it was like, it was frozen for everyone. And I saw some reactions that were like, what the heck, Nintendo, you know? So I think the like slight delay throughout the most of this whole stream was not just me, but I don't know. Anyway, you know, so I kind of stopped here and I had to go back and see what was announced, because they did say like, oh, Enter the Gungeon 2, this is the next game coming for Switch 2, you know. They said that, but then there were like something like Star Seeker, which is going to come out 2026. I did not see that game at all, you know. I had to go back. Cyberpunk 2077, I did not see that. Comes out launch day. And also, this is the game where, you know, it's like 64 gigabytes, and they're using that cartridge where it's the online verification thing. Okay, and then Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade is coming to Switch, and I did not see this at all either. Well, I saw the very end of it, and I'm like, oh, okay. But like, because it was all in Japanese, like person talking, so I couldn't understand it. So yeah, and then it stopped freezing here, so we're good now. Also, it doesn't have a release date for Final Fantasy VII Remake, but you know, I'm sure it'll be soon. We got Gami Path of the Goddess comes out launch day. Capcom game. Is this the game that's on like Game Pass? I don't know. Hollow Knight Silk Song, baby, comes out 2025, and it looked like they showed off the same footage as they did before, but we got a new release year. Watch it be delayed again. Story of Seasons, Grand Bazaar comes out August 27th. This is a Switch 2 version, right? Because this was already announced on the current Switch, right? I think. Good Night Universe 2025. 2-Point Museum 2025. Which again, I think a lot of these are, you know, Switch 1 games as well. Wild Hearts S comes out July 25th. Witch Book comes out holiday 2025. Again, that was shown off in the recent direct. Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S comes out June 5th. I wonder if they're gonna have anything, you know, new there. Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma, which I think it comes out launch day. I think this is the game that ran like horribly on Switch, so it's good to see them come out with a better version. Marvel Capcom Invasion Holiday 2025. This was shown off in the recent direct. Star Wars Outlaws 2025. We got Nubaga's Abyssin Awakening Complete Edition. Comes out launch day. Okay. Fast Fusion. They showed this off briefly. You know, comes out launch day. It's like an F-Zero kind of inspired game, right? Shadow Labyrinth, July 18th. Already announced for Switch. Roto Remastered The Mystery of the Soulless Army. This was in the recent you know, Switch 1 Direct. No Sleep for Kamadata from AI. The Salmon Files also coming to Switch 2. Reanimal, I don't know, comes out 2025. Fortnite comes out June 5th, 2025. Hype. Of course, we expect Fortnite. Anyway, also, this Nintendo Life article has like some of the screenshots like flipped. Like they have Fortnite, but they have the Silk Song thing. And then for the Silk Song thing, they had the Civilization screenshot instead. Anyway, Arcade Archives 2 Ridge Racer comes out launch day. Professor Layton and the New World of Steam. I remember seeing this in the direct. I don't know, maybe because it was in the sizzle reel. Tomogatsu Plaza, I did see comes out June 27th. And again, these are all like Switch 1 games, but they're getting versions on Switch 2. Human Fall Flat 2. I did not know. I don't know. Was this announced already? I don't know. I've never heard that they were making a sequel until this direct, but comes out at some point. We don't know when. The Dusk Bowl Bloods. This is a new FormSoft game exclusive to the Switch 2. It's a multiplayer type thing. I thought it looked like Elden Ring and Bloodborne. And it's a new thing, you know, by those same people, so it's kind of cool. But now we got the last few announcements here, which is a pretty exciting one. Kirby Air Riders coming in 2025. It's a sequel to Kirby Air Ride, which is a thing people loved, you know, especially the like battle mode, city, whatever it was. I saw people talk about it a lot, you know, on YouTube, and it's cool to see a new, you know, game. And, you know, it's also really cool that it's coming out the same year as Mario Kart. It's like Nintendo finally realizes, oh, Mario Kart doesn't have to be our only kart racer. You know, that's really cool stuff. Yeah, and it's being made by Masahiro Sakurai, which he kind of teased, you know, that he was working on something. And then lastly, at least for the direct, we got Donkey Kong Bonanza. Comes out July 17th. And this game looks really cool. It looks really good. Like, it looks like there's so much options. It's a 3D Donkey Kong game finally after Donkey Kong 64, which was not the best game from what I hear. It's cool to see a new one, and it's cool to see a new Donkey Kong game in general. There's been a lot of ports, of like Donkey Kong Country Returns, Tropical Freeze over and over again. It's nice to see something new. The only problem I have with this game is that I don't like the way DK looks. I actually didn't mind how he looked in Mario Kart, maybe because we only saw him a little bit in the Mario Kart thing, and in this game we saw him up close. I don't like how he looks. I like how he is expressive a lot, but the facial movements look weird. I don't know, but this game still looks cool. I wonder if it's being made by the Mario Odyssey people, like the main 3D Mario developers. I think we will still see a new 3D Mario game at some point in the near future. I was kind of expecting that for this direct, but Donkey Kong is really cool, and we haven't had one in a while. I would still like some new hecking 3D Mario. So, and then this article talks about the pricing for the Switch 2. There's one that's just with the Switch 2 by itself for $450. The bundle with Mario Kart World is $500. And then for some reason in Japan it's $350 American, but they're so you don't buy it cheaper. They have a region lock version in Japan, and it's kind of dumb. And then there's other things where they talked about other pricing, which I talked about in a short. Again, I recorded before I made this video. It came out first, if you want to check that out. I went over the pricing stuff already for the most part, although we still don't know, at least as I'm still recording this, we don't know the cost of the upgrades for the Switch 2 edition games. Maybe it's gonna be $10. I don't know. There was also pricing for controllers and stuff that I did not mention. God, I wish I could find it real quick, but it was basically the Pro controller was $75, I think, and then Joy-Cons were 80 something. I don't know, it's a little bit higher than the Switch 1 controllers and stuff. An extra dock is close to 100 or something, which a lot of these are similar to the Switch 1 prices already, but it's just slightly more expensive, which is annoying. There's a lot of stuff that is expensive, and I'm why Nintendo? A lot of people are saying maybe it's because of the tariffs thing going on in America, especially because they announced new tariffs today, but they're also really expensive in Europe. In fact, I think technically Europe has them more expensive. Australia also has it pretty expensive. Canada, it's basically everywhere except Japan. And Japan, they're oh, you can't import it because they're gonna have a specific region lock version, and it's just so why Nintendo? I feel this is really bad because it's Nintendo's version of what Sony went through with the PS2, where they got arrogant. The console was really expensive, the games weren't. This is the opposite, where the games are more expensive, but the console really isn't. It's $450 or $500. I think that's a little bit too much, but it's not that bad. We were expecting that around that price range. I would have preferred $400, but whatever. But it's still annoying, and I am worried that Nintendo is getting too arrogant and that this will bite them in the butt. Because the Switch 1 was a huge success, it's the #2 best-selling console, behind the PS2. Nintendo thinks they could charge more, and I don't think it's gonna end up being super good for them. I think they'll make a lot of money, but they could have gotten more money if they priced it cheaper, and the reason they would still get money, and to some extent they will get away with this, even though I think they could make more if it was cheaper, is because Nintendo fans are very defensive. They love to defend Nintendo because they're the best video game company ever. They do no wrong when they do. I like Nintendo, but they have issues, and it's just, I don't like the president that Nintendo is doing. It's very annoying. But besides the costing stuff, which they didn't even talk about, when they easily could have, they could have cut out some of the time of the the voice chat thing, because I think we saw too much of that in particular and spent a little bit of time on the cost of certain things. But that's like one small issue in the grand scheme of things. Overall, this direct was pretty good. We got some, hardware stuff with like HDR, 4K confirmed, and of course the games, which look pretty cool. But again, the pricing kind of really sours it. Before we go, they did reveal the Switch 2 box art, which I don't really like. Apparently a decent amount of people like it. I don't. I think there's a lot of too much red, like too much empty space. I don't really like it, I wish they just had a similar thing for the Switch 1 box art, but like maybe move the thing from the top left corner to the top right corner and maybe make it, I don't know, make it a different shade of red or something. Like yeah, you can tell that these are Switch 2 games, they don't look like Switch 1 game cases, but like it just looks weird. It's like a lot of empty space. I liked how minimal the Switch 1 cases were. Like I don't know, but yeah, overall, again, pretty good direct. Disappointed about the cost stuff, which is probably why they didn't put in the direct, because it would have really soured it. It does still sour the event, but it would have really soured it if they talked about the pricing there. But I still think it should have, because it's so important to be clear and concise, to consumers, Nintendo. I don't know why, because it's so confusing to see like, oh, this is the price of this, and this was all coming out at different hours, what's the pricing for different things, and I still don't even know if the $90 thing for physical games is confirmed. Like, I don't know, it's just so scattershot, and I wish Nintendo confirmed it directly in the direct itself, because everyone would know and understand directly from Nintendo. But overall, good thing. I am excited for Switch 2. I don't know when I'll be able to pick it up. I'm thinking a lot of people, because of the pricing stuff, are not going to be able to pick it up or don't want to pick it up on launch day. I think I do want to pick it up on launch day. I think there's a decent amount of stuff like Mario Kart and of course GameCube that I do want to try, and also the better graphics versions of like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. Oh, and also I don't remember, did I say this already? I believe it is confirmed. I did see something where I think it is actually confirmed by Nintendo. I think I saw something that was a rumor at first, or again, it was so scattershot. But anyway, I saw that the Switch 2 versions of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, they're gonna be free for expansion pack Switch Online people, so that's neat. Like, I want to try out all these stuff, and I think it could be fun to do it on the channel, but I would need money. One way would be to sell my current Switch, but I would still need a lot of money after that. I don't know, I could always like donate blood or go to a pawn shop. I don't know, I'll figure it out. I'll try to get it on launch day. I'm excited for the Switch 2, but I can't help but be a little bit disappointed about the prices. Let me know what you thought of this direct. I don't actually think I rated it in the live stream I did. I would probably rate the direct on its own maybe 8 out of 10, maybe. I feel like it could have been higher if they showed off more games spread out. Like, we got a decent amount of games, but they're all like coming out on like launch day or like around launch. I wish they kind of talked about games that were coming out and like they dated them for the rest of the year as well. And also, I think some third parties were missing. I think they should have had Persona 3 Reload there. But overall it was still pretty good. Now, in terms of the whole thing with the rollout of information, maybe like a 7 out of 10. I don't know, like the information rollout has kind of been, again, scattershot and insane. So yeah, not good in terms of that, but the direct itself was pretty good. Let me know what you guys thought of it in the comments down below. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe. Play some Xenoblade, and I'll catch y'all next time for more. Peace. I hope the Xenoblade series gets some Switch 2 versions, and I hope they're free.